Hi there. With a new president on the horizon for the United States, the debate about America's trade and investment relationships with advanced and emerging market economies is highly topical. So I thought for this key chart I would look at the degree to which a selection of emerging market and developing countries are dependent on the United States for their exports. So let's have a look at the data. So this data comes from the World Bank's January 2017 Global Economic Prospects Report, superb document, and it picks out a selection of countries, 10 emerging market and developing countries. Emerging market and developing countries, or EMDEs, include all those nations that are not classified as advanced high-income countries. So Mexico is in there, Thailand, China, Indonesia, and so on. Now the key point I think to take from this chart is that the United States is a big export destination for many of the world's emerging markets. Indeed, it's the single largest export market for 1/5 of all the world's countries. Take, for example, Mexico, which is an outlier in this chart. So Mexico, of course, has been part of the North American Free Trade Agreement, which was signed in 1984. And Mexico's exports of goods and services to the United States account for just under a quarter of their total national output, their GDP. Expressed in a different way, you see the dependence even more starkly. That 79% of Mexican exports go to the United States in value terms. So clearly, the debate that is happening at the moment about multinational firms and their relationship with US trade policy is highly relevant to Mexico. Generally, around about 40% of total US trade occurs within multinational firms, especially with advanced economies, but also with countries that have based, for example, their production, car making in Mexico, or based their textile productions in Vietnam, etc. So this chart is really quite important. Mexico has extremely heavy trade dependency on the States. Other countries less so, but still important. So Colombia, for example, exports to the States account for just 5% of their GDP, but 34% of their total exports. And China, so China's exports to the States account for 4% of their GDP, but 17% of their exports. So keep a keen eye on the news here. The relationship between countries in the United States as the new sort of Trump trade policy starts to take effect will be one to watch. The crucial defining point, I think, is the extent to which multinational companies are bullied and influenced by Trump's threats of tariff protection in the United States. This has been a key chart on export dependency of emerging market and developing countries to the United States.